Good evening. I just wanted to begin to say that my name is Barbara Day Chief, and I'm going to just kind of go over the topic that I'm going to be presenting on part of my family theory um, final with my presentation. My my topic is kind of something that I can relate to. I believe, not believe, but I know. And it's because I believe that I kind of my own life, the process of of living in childhood with where there was a lot of um, historical trauma. There was a lot of stuff that was going on in my childhood, and it kind of you know it did affect me later on more than when I was a child. So so choosing this topic, it not only helps me to understand the theory more, but it also helps me to understand more about myself as well. So I'm learning a lot with this topic, and it is called the multi-generational transmission process. And it's kind of I'm kind of, it's about discovering from my understanding, it's about discovering, you know, the disconnect, the different patterns where, you don't, where an individual is not feeling connected in, in all four directions. There's something might be happening more, on one area and lacking in another. So, I think that's part of the thing. And um, part of the part of this, I think I can say, is that I grew up with four other sisters in my home directly, and we had my older sister that was more privileged to be in a home where she didn't have to worry about um, the effects of alcohol, the effects of um, poverty, effects of homelessness, and and sexual violence, the abandonment. So that was and that kind of was where me and my other siblings were unable to kind of connect more with my older sister due to her being more privileged of her staying with my grandmother. And so I think growing up with my grandmother, and I hope I'm doing this right, Kevin, explaining this multi-generational process. It's just, I think that one of the areas that there's a lot of unresolved um, conflicts that might, that's part of this part of this process. So I there was I always go back to the boarding school era where my grandma, she was a boarding school survivor, and my father, he was also a boarding school survivor. And parenthood um, was never, it was not a good way of how we were growing up, how we were raised. My grandma had a lot of strict values that was, that was given to her from the boarding school, including my father. So, my dad was more or less abandoned me and my twin growing up, and my grandmother did a lot of she had a lot of strict rules with us, and it was a there was abuse there, and so growing up, we it was it was a lot of fear there, and just the uncertain, I believe, as well. And so and with my mom, my grandmother had a lot of control over my mom's life, because she had taken my older sister um, away from her, and for no, I don't really know the truth today of why that happened. And I think that's part of, not, you know, I never really got the definite answer of why my mom allowed my grandmother to take my older sister, so, just, maybe it was because my grandma wanted to be a better parent to my sister than she was with my uncles and my other aunt, or but yeah, basically with my mom and her siblings. So maybe she thought taking my sister would help her, or maybe she probably, there's another area that I always believed also, that maybe she, because she had so much control over my mother's life, she wanted to continue that control and raise my sister, the way she wanted, her life to be. So, there's still some, like I explained here, there's some unresolved, reasons why. The emotional fusion, there was such a, I believe that, I think an individual that has grown, had grew up in a lifestyle as myself. There was a lot of, I had developed anxiety. I also had developed aggression, because I think I did a lot of, how would I say, defending myself. Excuse me. So, and I think part of that was with my anger growing up. So I think, there was a lot of, that would kind of put a lot of stress factors in my life. Excuse me. And I think being a parent, becoming a parent myself, it kind of, it reflected down to my children as well. So the triangles of my relationship with my family it's really difficult, because we have we're all divided. We excuse me, I we're we weren't raised to have to be. I wasn't raised. I have to say myself, because I'm talking. I wasn't raised to be in therapy. To heal. It wasn't until I was in high school where I was able to seek, help for myself, because I wanted to know what was holding me back, and I realized that a lot of my childhood traumas and everything had affected me when I got older. So, and being raised with, three other girls in my family, in the home life, we have, of course, we're not all going to be on the same page. There's always going to be someone that we're going to have arguments, and there was a lot of arguments, so many arguments. And if I had an argument with my twin, and the unhealthy and the toxic area of it is that, I'd run to my mom. My mom would try to be the mediator, and eventually she just ended up taking one side, and, and eventually, run into my sister would run to my older sister, and, and just, we weren't able, we weren't able to have the right tools to work it out, me and my twin directly, and without having someone else involved, so that the triangulation, it was really hard, and it still affects my family today. um, I see a lot of behaviors that my family is still struggling with, and it's only because some of the, I'm the only one in my family right now that has went through the process of, the healing area of it, getting to know myself once again, and basically meeting myself, and I'm trying to break away from the negative cycle from this multi-generational trauma, because it can really harm. It has harmed my life. It has given me, my some of my barriers in my life that I'm healing from. So, but the coping area of it, the healing area of it, the coping was difficult. It was hard. The healing of it was amazing because I was able to let a lot of my aggression, my anger, my, a lot of my just bad behaviors, and so and so continuing on with my lifestyle, in this, this topic of, the generational process, I want to be able to help one day and help others break the negative cycles and break the patterns of addictions, and and help people with mental health disorders. Like, with me, I have anxiety, and at one point I was diagnosed with PTSD. Excuse me. So it's a struggle, but I want to be able to help someone else, and help bring them forward, and not having them to remain stuck like I was, like I felt like I was for nearly all my life, until I was up in my high school, until I became an adult and realized what I needed in my life, and what I needed was to be healed from my past, and with my family, and so I just want to, I really want to help, others, like I said. And I being a parent, is difficult, and having my parents, overcome, or being alcoholics, it was really hard, and where I became one as myself. And I think that's part of the learned behaviors of, being raised around, addictions and learned behaviors, it just, so it affected me and my children, my two children. But, you know, um, there's always growth, there's always healing, there's always forgiveness, there's always new chapters. I believe there's always new bridges that we can be able to come, just to go across it and not be afraid. Um, I feel like, part of this, the interpretation of, part of the components is that, I feel like I'm moving forward. But I also feel like I'm leaving my family behind because, my siblings and my family, they're still kind of stuck. They haven't, like I said, they haven't moved forward. And in my lifestyle, I don't want to have a get away from being, toxic, and trying to be, just be healthy, have a healthier home, you know, and not be afraid, not to have my children not be afraid to voice their, concern. They're, they're if they're not having a if they're not having a good day, I want them to hear, I want them to know that, it's okay to be upset. It's okay to be, you know, disconnected, from someone or something, or, so I give them that respect, and just like me, they give me my respect when I don't feel 100% together, and so, but, I'm looking forward to this presentation, and, it's gonna be, a learning experience, and I'm looking forward to, just learning more about it. I'm learning more as I'm going with this, and I, I can say that, some of these, the sessions of the process, I can just relate to every one of those, so almost. But thank you, and I appreciate your time.